Hello, this video is going to be about word problems. Now, next to fractions, word problems are probably one of the most difficult things for students to get. And I would probably say it's probably the worst, besides fractions, the worst thing to teach because there's so much of a phobia against word problems. And what I tell my students, and as I tell you, the best thing to do when it comes to word problems is you need to dissect, you need to pull out, you need to mark out, you need to do all sorts of things, little tricks. And the only way to find these little tricks is to actually do problems. It's kind of like if you learn how to play the guitar or a musical instrument or a piano, any kind of musical instrument. There's ways to do things, and then there's little tricks that you learn. Well, those little tricks can be applied in mathematics also. But the only way to find those little tricks, or the only way to find those those extra things that you can do with your fingers playing the piano, or the things that you can do with your fingers playing the guitar, the only way to find those tricks is to practice and practice and practice. If you think you're going to learn word problems by doing 2 or 3 word problems, you might as well just go ahead and forget it because you're not going to do it. But there are some things that we can talk about that will help you to lessen the anxiety so you can work on them. So, the first thing we're going to talk about is keywords. Now, there's all kind of keywords, and I'm not going to sit here and say that they're all they're going to come out and jump right out in front of you. They usually don't, but some of them do. A good example is is. I hate to say is. It all depends on what your definition of is. Excuse me. The the word is dictates usually if it's toward the end of the sentence. That's your equal sign. And if you can find your equal sign, you pretty much have half the problem licked because usually to the right of the equal sign or the right of the is your total. And, we, hold on just a second. I was going to, oh well. Um, there it is. I wondered where it was. I need to pull up something right quick. Okay, I thought it was, maybe it's not ready to, I was trying to hook up my digitizer. Maybe it'll turn on in just a minute. But is gives you the, while I'm waiting for that to turn on, I'm going to kind of go off to the side here. You have to excuse me, I have to flip between things. And I'm going to flip right now and minimize that and talk about is. When you're talking about a word problem and you say 2 more than a number is 36. And that's what I was going to write on the page. Now there's 2 or 3 key words here, but the main one is because is usually a key word that means equals, and usually what's to the right usually goes to the right of that is. So I can already say I've finished half the problem. You have, because there's 2 sides to each equation and you've got one of them done. Now, how many things right here do we have? You got 2 more than a number. Well, I like to tell students about the more than or less than. more than, or less than. Whenever you see these numbers, whenever you see these words, what I like to tell students is use the crisscross method. Now, I don't tell students, with more than, that's plus, you don't have to worry about it because addition is commutative, but with less than, you have to. And this is what I tell students to do. 2 more than a number. 2 more than a number. When you see the two words, a number, that is usually X. Okay? So I tell them to do crisscross, and that gives you X and 2, and then more than is plus. Crisscross, X and 2, and less than is minus. Now, this one doesn't matter because addition is commutative. Subtraction is not. That's not commutative. 2 plus 3 is the same as 3 plus 2. 2 minus 3 is not the same as 3 minus 2. So when you're dealing with less than, remember the little crisscross method. Okay, now with inequalities it's different, but when you're dealing with equal signs and you know that's equals, and you see a less than a number, then you need to use the crisscross. So here we can go x plus 2, and that's going to be 2x, or 2 more than a number, so x plus 2, so your number is 34. Now, that's real basic. I understand that's real basic. I'm mainly showing you that these key words are very important. You've got to learn them. If you don't learn them, you're going to be in trouble with the word problems. And let's look at some more keywords. The sum of 3 and a number. Sum. Whenever you see the word sum, what does that mean? That means you're going to add. Whenever you see the word more than, that means you're going to add. Whenever you see plus, that means you're going to add. Increase, that means you're going to add. Add, older than. All these key words in red equal plus. Raised, plus. And you see those right here. Add, altogether, and, both, how many, how much, in all, increase by, plus, sum, together, total. So you need to make a note over here, a different chart. Add, altogether, and, both, combined, how many in all, how much, in all, increase by, plus, sum, together, total. And then of course you got subtraction. And so what I would suggest for you to do, the first thing is you need to learn some of these key words. And that's all I can tell you on that, because if you don't learn the key words, you're not going to know what to do. Okay, now when you're talking about addressing a word problem, okay, you know your keywords now, and you've learned them, and you're looking at a word problem. The first thing you need to do is find that equal sign. Because once you find the equal sign, you've got the equal sign. That means you've got a left-hand side and a right-hand side. So there is a left side and a right side. The word is usually indicates the equal sign. The right side of the equal sign is usually the total or the sum. And then all you have to do after you do that part is build the left-hand side. Mark out the words and sentences that do not pertain to the total of the building of the equation. Anything that's in there that you don't need. You don't need to know what brand. You don't need to know who made the product. You don't need to know any of that stuff. So mark it out. Here's an example. The second of two numbers is 4 times the first. Their sum is 50. Now there's two is's here, and how do you distinguish them? Well, the is 50, that's equals 50. So I'm going to write this down on my paper. The second of two numbers is 4 times the first. Their sum is 50. Their sum is 50. Okay, I'm waiting for my camera to turn on. Okay, it's not responding. Maybe it'll turn on in just a minute. But you got two numbers. Let's make up the the left side, and then you got the equal sign, and then you got 50. Well, I don't know what's wrong, so I'll pull up I'll just keep going from here. So the second of two numbers is 4 times the first. The second of two numbers. So that means on the left-hand side, we got two numbers. One is x and one is 4x. So on the left-hand side, you would have x plus 4x, and then that would equal 50. X plus 4x is 5x. 5x is equal to 50. Divide by 5, and x is equal to 10. Now, if x is equal to 10, that's the first number, 10. But what's the second number? Well, 4 times 10 is what? 40. So the first number is 10, and the second number is 40. So that is a word problem. You just did a word problem. And I still don't have my camera, so we'll move on. The second of two numbers is 5 more than, there's that more than, twice the first. Their sum is 80. So on that one, it'll be equal to 80, and you have two parts on the left-hand side. Oops. So, I'm trying to get back to the camera so you can see, and I don't think this is going to work. So, hold on just a minute. Let's see if I can get that thing to quit so I can restart it. End task. Pull it back up. See if we can get it going. Hopefully it'll start. There we go. On that last problem, I'll go ahead and put it over here. There's the last problem we did. Let it focus. There we go. The second of two numbers is 4 times the first. Their sum is 50. X plus 4x is equal to 50. 5x is equal to 50 divided by 5. X is equal to 10. And then you back substitute that That's 10. And 4 times 10 is 40. 40 plus 10 is 50. That was the first problem we did. The second problem, I'll pull it back up. The second problem says the second of two numbers is 5 more than twice the first. Alright, well, we know that the sum is 80. We got that a while ago, and we got two numbers over here. The second of two numbers is 5 more than twice, so that would be 5 more than, I'm writing this out, more than twice the first. Okay, so you got two sides over here, and it's equal to, there's our is, equal to 80. And then the rest of the sentence says the second number, I'm having to abbreviate here, is equal to 5 more than twice the first. Well, since the first is not talked about, excuse me, since the first is not talked about, the first is x. And that's another little clue. If they don't talk about one number, if they don't describe one number, then that number is x. This one is 5 more than 2 times the first number. Well, the first number, there's no description of the first number at all. So if there's no description of the first number, that means first number is x. So now let's do this. We know what's 2 times, that's supposed to be 2 times. What's 2 times the first number? Well, that's 2x. And 5 more than, and remember what I told you about more than and less than, crisscross. So that would be 2x and 5 and plus. So this one is 2x plus 5. Now you've got what you need to solve. So there's a positive 1 right here. So you distribute that positive 1 to get rid of the parentheses. And that gives us 1x plus 2x plus 5 is equal to 80. And 1x plus 2x is 3x. And we're going to subtract 5. And 3x is equal to 75. Divide by 3. Sorry, I'm running out of room, sorry. Divide by 3, and x is equal to 25. Now, if x is equal to 25, then we got to go back up here and find out what the other numbers are. So x is equal to 25. And plug 25 in here. 2 times 25 is 50. 50 plus 5 is 55. Now add those two together and you should get 80. So word problems are kind of, like I said, you just need to practice them, because you can't find the tricks if you don't practice. I'm sorry, I forgot to make this. There we go. Look at here. I'm going to write these up here and we'll do them. Well, yeah. I'm trying to think of a way I could do this. I might could. No. Give me a second here, I'm thinking. Well, we can do this. I'm going to pull this up over here. I do this in class all the time. And slide this over. It won't let me. I don't think I'm going to be able to do this, but I'll try. Maybe I can do it. The thing is, I can't bring this one down. Yeah, I can. Just going to have to look real close. Alright, the first one says the sum of a number and 8 is the opposite of negative 8. The sum of a number and 8. The sum of a number, no description. You see that? The sum of a number that has no description whatsoever, that's x. The sum of a number and 8 is the opposite of negative 8. So x plus 8 is equal to, what's the opposite of negative 8? Positive 8. $20 less than 5 times the number. 20 less than 5 times a number. There's that a number again. When you see that a number, that's x. 5 times x, so 20 less than 5 times x, crisscross, 5x minus 20, and that's going to be equal to twice the number, I think, divided by 2. 20 less than 5 times the number divided by 2 is equal to 15. Sorry. There's that one. Three times the sum of 4 and a number is, that is twice the number. Okay, and we got that part done. So 3 times the sum of 4 and a number. 3 times the sum of 4 and a number. 3 times the sum of 4 and a number is equal to twice the number. So that's going to be 3x plus 12 is equal to 2x minus 2x minus 2x. X is going to be equal to negative 12. Negative 12 plus 4 is negative 8. And negative 8 times 3 is negative 24. And negative 12 times 2 is negative 24. The next one. Where is your is? The is right beside the 20. So is 20. And over on the left-hand side, it says 5 more than a number. 5 more than a number. There's that a number again. A number means x. Crisscross. So 5 goes here, and x goes here. So x plus 5 is equal to 20. And that's how you do that one. 1/3 of a number is 12. Oh, wait a minute, I skipped one, didn't I? 55, I'm sorry, 55. 55, 55, there we go. Okay. The next one says 1/3 of a number is -12. Well, is -12. 1/3 of a number, and that number is x. Six times a number increased by 3 is 33. 6 times a number increased by 3 is equal to 33. And you'll find yourself, after you do enough of these, you're going to find yourself starting to translate the mathematical sentence from reading the regular sentence. And the last one, 2 times the sum of 9 and a number is the opposite of 9. 2 times the sum of a 9 and a number is the opposite of 9. Is the opposite of 9. 2 times the sum of 9 and a number. And that's going to give us 2x plus 18 is equal to -9. Plus 18, or minus 18, is going to give us -27. And x is equal to -27 over 2. So working the word problems is not that difficult. I want to give you one rule when you're dealing with word problems. There's a couple of things you might see in the future, especially on standardized tests. One thing you'll see is consecutive. Consecutive numbers and consecutive odd or even. Okay. Consecutive numbers are like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on. And the formula for that, if x is equal to 1, that will be x plus 1, x plus 2, x plus 3, and so on. X plus 4, ... So if you're ever asked to find 2 consecutive numbers, you're going to use the first 2. Or 5 consecutive numbers, you'll use the first 5, or whatever the case may be. Consecutive odd or even, well, let's just draw that. That'll be 1, 3, 5, 7, 11, and so on. That's odd. Even be 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, and so on. The formula for both consecutive odd or even is going to be x plus 2, x plus 4, x plus 6, and so on. What's 1 plus 2? 3. What's 1 plus 4? 5. What's 1 plus 6? 7. What's 2 plus 2? 4. What's 2 plus 4? 6. What's 2 plus 6? 8. So these two formulas you need to learn for consecutive numbers or consecutive odd or even. An example, find 2 consecutive numbers that's equal to 30. So that would be x plus 1 is equal to, 29. Okay, so minus 1, x plus x is 2x is equal to 28, x is equal to 14. So the numbers are 14 and 15. 14 plus 1 is 15. 14. That's two consecutive numbers. That's equal to 29. Two consecutive odd numbers. That's equal to 58. Or let's go with something easy like, 50. Let's go with 68. Maybe that'll help be easier. And that'll be minus 2, minus 2. So 2x is equal to 66, and x is equal to 33. Therefore, if x is equal to 33, what's the second number? 33 plus 2 is 35, and you add those two together, you get 68. So with consecutive even or odd, again, you use the same formula. With consecutive numbers, you use this formula. Okay? So, looking back at what we talked about, the main thing you need to remember about word problems is what goes on each side of the equal sign. Look for the word is. When you find the word is and there's a number beside it or a combination of a number beside it, that's your equals and that's your right-hand side. Once you get the right-hand side, all you have to work on then is the left-hand side, which usually consists of 2 or 3 parts, and then establish where you see a number, that's x, and the x is usually going to be your first number. So I hope that helps, and maybe you can overcome the word problem phobia that most students have.